This is a series of programs about a particular kind of movie. Movies that drag us into the terrible worlds of the alcoholic and the drug addict. I'm Brian.
And it is through their ecstatic truth, a truth more fundamental than that of reality, that we experience insights into both the staggering damage caused by this affliction, as well as glimpses into the courageous journeys of those who struggle to recover. I'm Jim. On this episode of Academy Movie Junkies, we're going to be treated to a very dreary portrayal of a cocaine addict. The movie is called Down to the Bone.
Do you have an Advantage card?
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
I don't either. Freaky, right?
Tighter, Bo.
Tighter?
Yeah.
Does it look good?
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Yeah. Bo? Bo?
Irene, why are you here?
For my kids.
I'm sorry?
For my kids.
For my kids? So your kids came to you and said, Mommy, why don't you go to rehab? Is that how that went? Drug of choice, Irene.
Coke.
Sniff it, smoke it, shoot it.
Sniff it.
Most of us felt like that when we first came to NA. Somehow we knew that we couldn't go on using drugs, but we didn't know how to stop or stay clean. So welcome. We're glad you have made it here and hope you decided to stay.
When did you go off the wagon?
How you doing? So you're leaving us?
Yeah. I gotta get out of here.
Think you're ready to go back out?
Were you ever clean? Or were you fucking bullshitting me the whole time?
I just wanted this to be really good.
It was good.
All right, so today we're taking a look at Down to the Bone, starring Vera Farmiga. I watched this film the other night, and I did really enjoy it. You know, it takes a lot for a film to really impress me, and this is one that did. Vera Farmiga's performance as kind of a hopeless addict really kind of just floored me, and everything, just kind of the monotony of her whole life and how everything was kind of just a consistent loss. And I think it was filmed that way too, kind of the darker hues of the picture and even the setup of all the sets, you know what I mean? Even you said earlier, even down to the snow appears sludgy, you know what I mean? And everything just, you know, it's just a very, almost, I left with a feeling of kind of nihilism going on, just nothingness. And I think at a certain point in an individual's addiction, things can get like that, and I know it did for me. You know what I mean? In the beginning, it was fun, whatever, and then eventually it just became, this is what I need to function. You know what I mean? And I wasn't even functioning when it came down to it. So I know you had some things you wanted to touch on.
Well, I liked the movie too. I mean, it's hard to say to you. Like, I could see why it didn't do very well. I think it's very important to mention that it was Deborah Granick's first film that she did just before Winter's Bone. And I think now everyone will pay a lot of attention to her. But this is a really well-directed, well-put-together movie. And, of course, the performance, the lead performance by Vera Farmiga, who was later Academy Award nomination for Up in the Air, was great. I like to look at it this way. I know it was upstate New York or up that way. It was done, and I don't think it's that is literally in what is called the Rust Belt in the United States, but it looked like the Rust Belt of human beings there, the way in which the darkness and the way everything was portrayed. But let's hear what our people have to say.
I got into a relationship in recovery after I had 2 years sober. I started dating a guy that was newly in the program, and he went back out, started dealing drugs out of my apartment, and it just progressed to I let him stay there. I let him deal drugs out of the apartment, and eventually I used. And it led me to prison.
Wow. I mean, you could see it in the film, Irene's portrayal there of the conflict between the two, wanting to be straight and having the experience.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the relationship aspect, because you get sober and then relationships feels good, so it was hard for her to distinguish. I did the same thing, and I used because I wanted the relationship, not because I wanted to get high.
I related to Irene a lot in her sense of searching for that outside validation, to have somebody just make you feel like you're loved. And when I was in rehab, I got into a relationship with one of the guys that was there, and you know, I was told that it was a bad idea, and that getting into a relationship in rehab is like trying to start a car with 2 dead batteries. And I thought my situation was different. I thought we were meant to be, and that we were going to fall in love and be sober together forever. And he wound up relapsing, and I was really disappointed that he relapsed. But not only did he relapse, he asked me to go pick up drugs for him. And you know, I told him I would, and he made me promise him that I wouldn't use the drugs, but I had to go pick them up. And you know, by the time I got back, I was using drugs again. It was inevitable.
He was using, and we had a totally different lifestyle. I was sober. I was going to meetings. I eventually quit going to meetings, and he was off doing drugs and staying up all night, and I couldn't do that. So in order for me to keep the relationship, I had to use. So that was my drive, to keep the guy.
For me, I always seek that outside validation and try to find a man to replace that hole that I'm feeling inside of me. And it never gets me anywhere but right back into a downward spiral of using drugs and getting high, because it's the only way that I know how to deal with the feelings that I feel when I do get into those relationships. So, I mean, relationships just have never worked out for me, especially in rehab and around drugs.
Again, I think this is a great film for us to cover. You know what I mean? As it wasn't, you know, it wasn't extremely popular in the mainstream. But as you said, Deborah Granick is growing in popularity, and maybe people will take a look at this. You know, as before they wouldn't give it a chance. And yeah, I'm satisfied with viewing the film and with what we've done here today.
Well, I think that for any of us who've been in a relationship that where drugs, and especially cocaine, that kind of drug, is a central part. It really decays the relationship, and we found I found it and that happened to me, that you just carry on somehow, and as you said earlier, you do the drugs to maintain, but no, there's no joy. There's certainly no joy in this film or in those relationships, and I think all of the people who commented said the same. Now we'll have the notes, of course, and I think they're really worth looking at, as is the film.